AITA for having an issue with my sister's child's name. My sister S and I are identical twins. I've always felt like I've never been allowed to have my own things. We have rhyming names. My mom always tried to get us matching clothes, and we shared a bedroom. That's never bothered S like it bothers me. She always wanted to do same activities as me and hang out with my friend group. When we were 18, she applied to a few of the same colleges as me, but she's never been as good of a student and she didn't get into my dream school and I did. I hid it, but I was really excited. Ultimately, it was good for us that S went to a different college. Our relationship improved when I had my own space where I could be myself and not one of the interchangeable twins. I went to graduate school, so I didn't get married until last year. After the wedding, we moved to my hometown to raise our kids close to family. S has been married for 4 years. Unfortunately, her husband she's unable to have kids. They decided to adopt, which I think is fantastic. I'm currently pregnant and having a girl. My husband and I spent a lot of time picking out the perfect name for our future child. I feel so good about this name. Yesterday, Essench announced to the family, remotely, that they are officially about to adopt a little girl. They wanted a baby, but ended up having to go with a slightly older kid, 5. She looks absolutely precious, and I was so happy for a few seconds before they announced her name is B, the name that S knows is my daughter's. I thought that was a joke, so I kind of laughed. Then I realized they were serious. Obviously the girls can't have the same name. Twins with daughters with the same name. Everyone would laugh at us. I feel like all of my problems with S will repeat themselves as everyone compares the girls and lumps them together because they have the same name. They won't be able to have a good relationship because of this. I don't want people nicknaming my kid to distinguish her because I like the full name I chose. And I can't help but suspect that S picked a kid with the same name on purpose just like she always wanted to be like me when we were kids. I'm planning to talk to S about the situation. One of us needs to change our kid's name, and I'm hoping she'll be reasonable. My kid will get here first. I'm almost at my due date, and I picked out the name first. A lot of parents change their adopted kids' names. They could do that. If the kid won't change her name, Essench could go with a different kid. There are thousands upon thousands of orphans who need loving homes, and 99.9999% of them don't have this one particular name. They haven't bonded with this one yet. I already have bonded with my baby and I can't imagine her with another name. TL. Doctor, my twin, who has always copied me, wants to adopt a kid with the same name as my baby. AITA for saying no? This is stressing me out, and it's not good for my baby. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate and say Esh, you are absolutely delusional. If you think a 5-year-old girl can just have her name changed just like that, no big deal. But honestly I do agree with you that there are plenty of children to choose from. It seems like she intentionally went out of her way to find one with the exact same name, especially since it's 5 years old. Why get a 5-year-old instead of a newborn? It sounds like she had some sort of ulterior motive. But you both sound like really superficial white girls who come from very wealthy parents and squabble over others' PPLS lives as if it's a game. You are both very pathetic PPL and need serious reality checks. I can't believe your husband hasn't left you yet. Which brings me back around to your family. Must have a lot of money, otherwise why would anyone stay with such a vile human being? Honestly, entitled much? Definitely it, but I'm a little curious. Do you realize how bad you came across and how petty you sound? This new little girl coming into your family has probably seen and lived a nightmare. She is so lucky to have your sister, and Bill, you should be happy for this little girl and you sister. It could be a cool way to integrate her into the family that she has the same name as your little girl. Look, XX, you have the same name as my little girl, and your mummy and I are twins. That means you were meant to be a part of our family. This little girl isn't trying to compete with your little girl, and if she is anything like most kids her age, she will probs love helping you take care of her new cousin. I would love an update. AITA. Honestly, I don't think you'll ever be a fit mother if you treat an orphan your sister is planning to adopt as an object that can just change their name without any issues. She is a human being that lived with the name 5 years. Names don't make a child. What makes a child is the love their parents/adoptive parents give them. You can change your unborn baby's name or have the same name. But you don't make someone else change a 5-year-old's name because you feel entitled to the name only. You sound like the entitled mom wanting someone else to accommodate something petty at the cost of another human being. If you continue this, your child would end up resenting you, and for good reason. You weren't even happy for your sister she is adopting a child, and you weren't happy for the child for getting a new family. It was all about you and the issues you have with your sister. It was all about stripping a poor child of her identity she had gotten from her birth parents that may be dead or couldn't take care of a child anymore. That poor child already has enough baggage being with whatever made her an orphan. If you can't stop being selfish, AITA forever. Get over your pathetic problems. Your sister doesn't even give a shit about your twin thing anymore. She's been married for 4 years, and in that time I doubt she's like, what can I do to be just like my sister? She was thinking about adoption because she can't have children of her own. You're the one with past problems with your sister, and you justify it to the point you think it's okay to hurt an orphan by stripping her of her name she had for 5 years. If even more so for saying your sister should just end up getting another child. Fuck you. You are a heartless, selfish bitch. Children aren't property. They are humans with emotions and feelings more than you ever had. If you think children are property, I don't think you can ever be a good mom. My kid will get here first. Okay, no. Now AITA. I stopped reading right then. Why? Because the 5-year-old is already fucking here, and anything else you say will have to do with you and your sister and not the child. She's not a possession. She's a human being. She has a name. She's being adopted, which means she's lost people one way or another and has trauma. And you want to take away her freaking name too. AITA to that girl, your niece. Either change the name of your daughter or refuse to, but you don't get to change a 5-year-old's name because you don't want to have matching names. AITA, OMFG, you got worse after I went back to read. You want this child to stay in the system so you can keep the fucking name? What is wrong with you? Even if this girl has never met your sister, and I wouldn't bet on that being a sure thing, if they are announcing the adoption name and all, she knows she's getting adopted. And you want to further traumatize an already traumatized child over a name. And just FYI, it's not that easy to adopt. Clearly, you know nothing about this process. AITA, you're also a class A narcissistic B*******. Not only do you feel it is necessary to belittle your sister by saying you had the better grades, were accepted to the better school, were the one who went to grad school, which frankly has nothing to do with anything. By the way, why didn't you also let everyone know what you earn in a year, how big your house is, what car you drive, etc. You actually expect your soon-to-be niece to have to go by a different name because it happens to be the one you want for your child. Oh my god. You truly are an asshole. Let it be known, your sister's adoptive daughter was not handpicked from a grocery store shelf because of her name. JHC, you truly are an asshole. GTF over yourself and give your baby another name. Or don't. Who TF cares? Get yourself some help. I pray for your husband and children and anyone else who has to put up with your self-absorbed personality. AITA. At first I thought your sister was planning to change this child's name to your preferred name and was prepared to go off on her for that, setting aside any twin issues you might have, because that is an objectively shitty thing to do to a child. It took a minute for me to get that this is what you want her to do. You are an unbelievable asshole. This child has undergone more trauma than you can imagine if she has lost her family at 5 years old. I'm a twin too. Your childhood troubles do not compare. In fact, they should make you more sympathetic to the fact that children are full human beings with their own identity and are not interchangeable. You can't see past your own petty complaints to the point where you will let them rob a 5-year-old of either her identity or her new family. Words cannot describe how disgusted I am with you right now. Get help. AITA for making my daughter put her feminine hygiene items back from the trolley after she disrespected me in front of others at the supermarket. I'm a 43-year-old mother of a 25-year-old daughter who still lives at home with me, and my 56-year-old husband, her biological father. For the longest time she has developed a nasty attitude towards me starting around the age she began puberty. I thought it was a phase, but it continued on into her adulthood. My daughter dropped out of university to do drugs, party and be promiscuous. I have tried to seek help for, and have tried to support her to the best of my abilities. I truly love her, but she is so mean to me. My husband lets my daughter get away with all sorts of things. She is allowed to break curfew. She can talk back to me whenever I ask a simple request. Basically my husband rewards her behavior and I'm sick of it. My daughter has never had a job in her whole entire life. My husband provides her with an allowance that she blows on materialistic things. She has no concept of saving money, even though I have tried to teach. In fact, she tell me to piss off and mind my own business whenever I try to help her. My daughter is dependent on us financially. She believes she is entitled to all we provide for her. I would have cut the umbilical cord a long time ago, but my dearest hubby said that she is not prepared to do that just yet. To add, my daughter does no housework around the house because my husband believes it is the wife's job to do all that. Yesterday, I took my daughter shopping at our local supermarket. My daughter begins putting boxes of tampons, medicine for period pains, junk food like chocolate and lots of clearance McUp into the trolley. We both line up at the registers and wait. My daughter is standing incredibly close to an old lady in front of us. I told my daughter politely, please stand back from her because we need to socially distance ourselves from others. My daughter looked me right at the face, gave me a dirty look, and ignored my reasonable request. I ask her again. My daughter takes a step back, looks at me like I just punched her, sighs, rolls her eyes and shakes her head. I snap and tell her, are you going to pay for your stuff, or are you expecting me to pay for it? She says she has no money, so I cut her off and say, well, you can take everything out and put it back on the shelf. Do it now, she asks, but it is that time of the month and I need these. I said, tough luck, take the food, tampons, medicine and McUp, and put it back. I'm not paying for it. If you do end up making a mess down there, you can learn to wash your own underwear. She reluctantly did as she was told, and I ended up paying for my items. We got home, and she cried to her father and he says I was horrible for not paying for her girl things. She said I embarrassed her in front of everyone, and now my husband is ignoring me. I don't know if I was in the wrong here, but I thought maybe that would teach my daughter a lesson. Was I tough for now buying her tampons and chewing her out? First I was going to say AITA, based on solely the title. Then I was going to say ESH, after reading the first paragraph. I have decided to say NTA. Your daughter is an adult now, and she still acts like a moody teen. For so long your daughter has been systematically using you and your husband. I'm not sure why your husband lets her get away with her abuse, and he is a massive ass for that. You say she gets an allowance from daddy, and she has the audacity to make you pay for all of her items. She has never learned responsibility, accountability or basic human decency. Your request at the supermarket was not unreasonable. Your little entitled daughter thought she could get away with blatant disrespect. I believe you not paying for anything dumped in that trolley was hopefully a wake-up call. You are not NTA for not providing her with tampons when she is on her time of the month. You are NTA because you finally showed her that you will not be walked all over. Also good on you for saying she can finally wash her own underwear. It also points out how lazy she is. NTA. NTA. I just can't believe that she is 25 and acts that way. I would believe that you love her dearly and would do anything for her, but it really is time to cut her off. She is going nowhere in life with that mindset. During this pandemic we really can't do anything normal, but after this has died down or is over, she needs to get a job. You should talk to your husband about the situation, but talk in depth about it and try and have him listen and see what is going on with her. Also, feminine hygiene stuff is important, and you don't want her to run out of products, and I don't condone going out right now, but maybe you should go get some for her just in case. That ruins the point that you made, but still. I think what you did in the store was fair, but you need to sit down with your husband and at some point your daughter and figure things out. She is an adult and has been for some years now. I would have cut her off financially a long time ago just to help her spread her wings and fly. But unfortunately it is my husband that keeps giving her money. I have expressed concerns about this and he has told me shut up and mind my own business. Info. Do you realize that your poor choice of a man and that your continued enabling of him has resulting in you having a spoiled child who has a ruined personality and will almost certainly never be a good person? At this stage, why wouldn't you just leave? You have a dud of a husband and you've produced a dud of a child due to negligent parenting. She's 25, so it's too late to fix things. What keeps you there? I never really understand the perspective of people in your position. You traded being nice to a dud of a partner for the sake of your child's personality. Do you think you made a good choice? Was it worth it? I'm not sure of my choices until now. I always thought I made a good choice marrying someone who wanted the best for me when I was 17. Whoa. This is a great big pile of ish. Your daughter is modeling the behavior of your problematic husband. Your husband, long ago, should have helped set boundaries for your daughter rather than reinforcing her disrespect toward you. Although, I suspect that, if he says chores are a wife's duty, he probably doesn't respect you himself, so how would he know how to enforce that in her? She sucks because obviously, she's entitled and unkind historically toward you. You suck because you sound like you have many things that have led you to bottle up your feelings about her and her behaviors and took them out on her in a public, moderately unreasonable, and dramatic way. She does need items for her period. She does not need clearance macup. She should already be paying for these things herself, however, or being respectful toward the person buying them. It is embarrassing to be scolded publicly in a dramatic way and to discuss someone's period as a soiling themselves threat telling them to wash their own underwear, even if what you said was factual. You need to address these things as a family, and if you can't, at least address them within yourself. Because honestly, it sounds like there is a bit of an underlying current of you not having respect in your home by anyone, and I would certainly also reach my wit's end with that treatment. So, you suck, but I understand why you suck. It just needs to be addressed before it makes you mentally unwell from the stress, and you do something else in a similar vein of public behavior. Based on your comments, why are you still in that relationship? What are you getting from it? You've mentioned threats of violence and blatant disrespectful comments from your husband. Why are you still with him? I know it's hard to leave, but I think you should take a good long look at your life and decide if this is what you really want your life to be. Where you went wrong was in refusing to get the tampons. That's unsanitary. It's not just her underwear she'll have to wash, but pants, skirts, and sheets as well. Not to mention that she won't be able to sit on anything in your house without getting blood all over it. You could have bought her cheap pads or tampons to get her through. The other stuff she didn't need, feminine hygiene products, she did. Your daughter is a spoiled monster, made so by your husband's catering to her every whim. She's as much victim as she is jerk in this situation. Your husband did her no favors teaching her complete dependence on you too, along with entitlement. I think you have some hard choices to make. You also need to start standing up for yourself and ultimately for your daughter's future by giving her limits, accepting that this is your status quo and not changing it or leaving the situation altogether. I do wish you luck on that and wish that your husband had learned that one of the best words to use when children are young is the word no. But only a tiny bit. You had every right to deny buying her the chocolate and makeup. But to deny her period items, just because she's an R, is being an R yourself. She needs those. She didn't need the other crap in the cart though. I get wanting to punish her, but denying a basic human right is not the way to do that. I wouldn't deny a tampon to my worst enemy. You could just bought the tampons and medicine, and not pay for makeup. It's too late to fix a 25-year-old's attitude. Your husband also is not that great because he never seems to be on the same page with you and back you up. She's playing you both against each other at age 25, which is unbelievable. I just bought the tampons and returned everything else. You need to talk with her father and make a list of life skills that she needs to accomplish on her own. Your husband doesn't realize how damaging she's gonna be to your family and the rest of society when she lacks empathy, or feigns ignorance, or has no respect for anything. She is spoiled to a fault. Also, I don't like the way they are both treating you. Your husband is supposed to help you with her behavior. No chores? A wife's job. Really? Your kid might end up someone's wife one day. How will she know? Hell, if she moved out now, she'll be hopeless XX. Okay, what the hell is going on in your house? You and your husband are not doing your daughter any favors by letting her live like a child at 35 with no responsibilities. Please stand up for yourself and tell your tragic daughter it's time to grow up, and your jerk of a husband that it's time for some changes. You have options. Don't live like this. It's hard, you know. I don't have any support outside of my husband and daughter. I keep trying and trying, but my advances keep getting shut down. I'm so angry and sad. You're in an abusive relationship. He started seeing you when you were 17 and he was 30. You said you had no friends or family and he rescued you from a bad situation. But it's quite the opposite. He saw a young vulnerable girl who didn't have anyone to protect her and preyed on her. What he did was illegal. He has spent years forcing you to have no friends, be his maid, and turned your daughter against you. He has made sure you have no one to turn to and no way to leave him. He has made sure you have no examples of a healthy marriage, so you won't realize what is happening to you. All of this is the definition of an abusive relationship. Please get some help for yourself. There are organizations that can help you leave. Opus. I'm not sure if you realize truly the situation you are in. Often we become so used to something we can't see it for what it is. Some of the things you say in your comments indicate an abusive relationship. You appear to feel like you have no choices. This is not true. You always have choice, even if those choices are difficult ones. I urge you to check this link and honestly appraise your relationship. It may feel like you cannot have anything but this life, but you can. You can have more from life than a relationship with a man who disrespects you so completely. I wish you well. Anyone peep those ages? Op was 18 when she had her daughter. Her husband was 31. He undermines her constantly with their daughter's discipline and is now giving her the silent treatment. She wanted to cut the cord, but husband said no and has enabled daughter to be completely dependent on them. He forces Op to do all the housework. Their daughter has learned she can go to dad and he will always take her side and ignore or punish mom. She says in a comment she has no friends or family, only her husband and daughter. It's easy to say Op is the villain here, but boy oh boy does this sound like a situation her husband has engineered since he was a man in his 30s knocking up a teenager to make her the punching bag. I feel sorry for you, Opus. I hope you talk to a therapist because none of this is normal. Thank you for watching and making it to the end of the video. Like and subscribe to see more Am I the Antagonist videos and don't forget to vote in the polls.